What's up, Giants fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. And in this video, I want to talk about the latest addition to the New York Giants quarterback room. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about this. It's going to be a very interesting discussion throughout the course of the offseason, what's going to happen with the Giants. But Jameis Winston is the newest New York Football Giants quarterback, signing a 2-year, $8 million deal with Big Blue. Could earn up to $16 million in incentives. Obviously, we know Daniel Jones has been the Giants starter for the past 6 seasons. Last year, his backups were Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito. Drew Lock is still out there as a free agent. Very unlikely he returns. Tommy DeVito was re-signed by the Giants as a restricted free agent to a 1-year deal. So Winston right now is slotted as QB1, and rumor is their pursuit of Aaron Rodgers is totally unaffected by this signing. He's 31 years old, 6'4", 231. He was the number 1 overall draft pick back in 2015 by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And to be honest with you, he hasn't really been a consistent starter since his 5 years in Tampa Bay, and they weren't good. Yes, he led the NFL in passing in 2019 in terms of yards, but he also led the NFL in interceptions that year. He's a gunslinger. He likes to target in the middle of the field a lot. I'm not the biggest fan of this signing for the Giants. I don't think the contract is bad. I just don't really like the player, Jameis Winston, and I'm going to explain why. So I mentioned he spent 5 years with the Bucs, a few years with the Saints as well, and last year with the Cleveland Browns. I did like, however, his personality a little bit. Tweeted out, start spreading the news with a capital W, hoping to bring wins to the Giants. Reason number one why I'm not a big fan of this signing, his career record as a starter is 36-51. And in Tampa Bay, towards the latter part of his tenure, he was really set up to succeed there. It just wasn't good. I mean, you had Mike Evans, you had Chris Godwin towards the end there. You had Cameron Brate, O.J. Howard. There were weapons for Jameis Winston, and he was just unable to take advantage of that. And it further shows because Tom Brady came in and won a Super Bowl with that roster. Yeah, they added a couple pieces for him, but Winston was just not holding it down. Then he went to the Saints in 2020. He was Drew Brees' backup for a year. Then after Drew Brees retired, Jameis took over as the starter. That year, he was okay. He started 7 games with a 5-2 record, 14 touchdowns, 3 picks, but he got hurt. He couldn't stay healthy, and then he couldn't come back and win that starting job. He lost the starting job. They upgraded. They went with Derek Carr. You sat behind Drew Brees. That was your last chance to be a starter in the NFL. Learn from Drew Brees, come in and take the bull by the horns. Unfortunately for him in 2021, he got hurt, but he was unable to live up to the call in 2022. In 3 starts, he had 4 touchdowns and 5 picks. Jameis Winston experience is a rather wild one. I describe it as a roller coaster. This is a guy that could throw 300, 400 yards a game, 4 touchdowns, but 3 interceptions as well, and you wind up losing 31-28. That is the Jameis Winston experience. Let's talk about the good with Jameis Winston. I think he's very, very good targeting the middle of the field, like I said. He's a pocket passer. He has good, tight spiral to his ball most of the time. In 2019, he started all 16 games, completed over 60% of his passes. He led the NFL with 5,109 passing yards, had 33 touchdowns as well. Obviously, the bad is the 30 picks. He also took the most sacks, which led the NFL with 47, and he also took the most pass attempts in the league that year. 2020 only played 4 games. 2021, we mentioned that already. 2022, 3 starts. I mentioned those numbers. And then in 2023, he played in 7 games with 2 touchdowns and 3 picks. So the one good thing, though, about Jameis Winston that I do like is that he brought some life into the Cleveland Browns last year. They went in and they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers late in the season. In 7 starts, he was just 2-5 as a starter, but that's better than what Deshaun Watson was doing. I believe Watson won 1 game as a starter in 2024. So Winston started 7 of his 12 games played, completed over 61% of his passes with over 2,100 yards, 13 touchdowns, but here it comes again, 12 interceptions. Now, Winston set a Browns single-game record with 497 passing yards and 4 touchdowns in one game last year. However, he had 3 picks. 2 of them were pick sixes returned for touchdowns. So basically, with Jameis Winston, you're probably going to be getting a lot of touchdowns, but a lot of interceptions as well. I expect the Giants offense with Winston is to be very pass heavy. It'll be very friendly to guys like Malik Neighbors, Darius Slayton, Theo Johnson, and Wan'Dale Robinson. I expect the Giants to modernize their offense even more. Do not expect to see many quarterback runs if he is the starter entering week 1. I mean, it's basically a wide open, reckless style offense, all in all. But yeah, and then the last reason why, his time in Tampa Bay, I didn't really touch upon the numbers there. We talked about his last year, but the 4 years prior, 2018 started just 9 games. He gets hurt a lot. That's another thing. 3-6, 19 touchdowns, 14 picks. He only played in 11 games with 9 starts and still threw 14 interceptions. That is a massive problem. 2017 started 13 games, went 3-10. He only started 13 games. He had 11 picks, 15 fumbles, losing 7 of them. That is 18 turnovers and only 13 starts. 2016, a little bit better. Started all 16 games. Bucs went 9-7 that year. Threw for over 4,000, 28 touchdowns. Here's the Achilles heel again, 18 interceptions. 2015, he threw 15 picks with 22 touchdowns, over 4,000 yards. So again, I'm not going to go ahead and say every interception he's thrown in his career is his fault, but he doesn't read the sidelines very well. He's good over the middle of the field, but the sidelines are a massive problem. That's why he's thrown several pick sixes throughout the course of his career. But I think the Giants need a little personality at the quarterback position. They need a guy with some swag. I mean, you saw DeVito win 3 games a couple years ago, and that helped the Giants. Maybe Jameis Winston brings that swag. I don't know. But yeah, the one thing I love about this deal, though, it is a cost-effective contract. It is short-term. There is not much pressure on a rookie. If the Giants draft one, you could sit behind Winston for a year. If he gets hurt, you could even just throw DeVito in there. There's going to be very little pressure with Winston in the quarterback room, in my opinion. But be prepared for fans to start calling for his head after 3 to 4 games if he's throwing a lot of picks and the Giants are sitting there 1-3, 0-4. Just saying that is going to happen. But again, as the rookie quarterback, you don't have to come in right away. It's a brutal schedule this year for the Giants, and I don't think they're done at the quarterback position. I think there's another free agent coming in. I think the Giants want to have 3 QBs on their roster heading into the draft. Now, the question is, do you sign another veteran like a Joe Flacco or a Russell Wilson? Do you go for the jackpot lottery and try to bring in Aaron Rodgers? Because if you look at Winston's deal, it's backup quarterback money, right? The Giants paid Drew Lock $5 million last year. He was a backup. The Giants gave Tyrod Taylor a 2-year, $17, $18 million deal a couple years ago, and he was a backup quarterback. So all in all, I do think Winston might start week 1, but he's not going to start the whole season. He is probably a very short-term bridge at quarterback. I wouldn't expect him to be starting at the end of next season. Next up, Giants signed wide receiver Zach Pascal to a 1-year deal. It's a camp body. It's nothing more than that. I'm not going to sit there and bash this move. He's not the best NFL talent. 30 years old now, 6'2". He's got some decent size, 215 experiences there. He's played in 6 career postseason games and 7 NFL seasons, 16 touchdowns, over 2,000 yards, over 160 career catches. That's not bad for a UDFA. He was a UDFA back in 2017. He signed with the Redskins originally, later signed by the Titans practice squad, and then caught on to the Colts, where he spent 4 years there. And numbers were pretty okay at the Colts. They were typical, wide receiver 3 numbers. 2018, he didn't start any games, but he played in all 16. 2019, he started 13 of the 16 he played in, had over 40 catches, 600 yards, and 5 scores. Same thing again in 2020. He started 14 of the 16, over 40 catches, over 600 yards, and 5 scores. There's a 2-year period there where he was very consistent. 2021, numbers ticked down a little bit, started 13 of the 16 games, 38 catches, 384, and only 3 scores. And then 2022, he played for the Philadelphia Eagles, starting just 2 games in 17 games. Again, you're playing behind A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. You're not going to get many starts. Only 15 catches that year. And then the last 2 years, he's played with the Arizona Cardinals. And I hate to say it, he's sort of been relegated to a special teamer at this point of his career. 14 games played in 23, just one start, only 4 catches that year, playing 22% of the offensive snaps and 53% of special team snaps. Last season, played in 17 games for Arizona out in the desert in Phoenix, played just 6% of the offensive snaps, but 64% of the special team snaps. I think Pascal is a camp body that will compete with little Jordan Humphrey for a roster spot. I think they're two similar players. I think Jordan Humphrey at this point of his career is a little bit better than Zach Pascal. Personally, that's my opinion, but you cannot undervalue the postseason experience that Pascal brings to the Giants roster. That is something to keep an eye on come training camp, come preseason. Do I think he's a guarantee to make the roster? No. Do I think this signing brings some value to the Giants? Yes. I'm not saying he's going to see the field much in 2025. But what I'm saying is he could do wonders for a young wide receiver room in need of some veteran voices. Folks, let me know what you think below in the comments section of this video. Do you like the addition of Jameis Winston at quarterback? What do you think of Zach Pascal as well? Make sure to ring the bell for notifications. Smash that like button. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, check us out on Instagram and Twitter at Big Blue Avenue. My name's Tom. Appreciate you all tuning in. And without further ado, let's go Big